right, so we're going deep today, deep into the AAP Rocky trial.
Oh, yeah.
You know the headlines. I'm sure celebrity case of Rihanna's involved, but
Yeah.
there's so much more here than just the gossip.
Absolutely.
We've got court transcripts, legal analyses, even some paparazzi photos.
Wow.
It's like we're getting a view from both inside and outside the courtroom, you know?
Yeah, I mean, what jumps out at me right away is just how differently Rihanna and Rocky are handling all the media craziness.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's Rihanna sneaking in through a parking garage, basically unnoticed.
Right.
And then you have Rocky practically pushing through a crowd of cameras.
It's such a contrast.
Yeah.
Like there's this one moment a reporter yells out, "Does Rihanna's support mean anything to you?" And Rocky doesn't even react.
Oh, wow.
He just keeps walking. I mean, what do you think was going through his mind?
It's tough to say. I mean, maybe it was strategic, you know, just letting the question hang there.
Yeah.
Or maybe he was just totally overwhelmed in the moment.
Yeah.
But then you see Rihanna in the courtroom sitting right there with Rocky's family,
Yeah.
not saying anything, but still.
Making a huge statement.
Yeah, way louder than any interview could.
It reminds me of those courtroom scenes, you know, where someone just shows up to support someone and it's just so powerful.
Exactly. It's what we call symbolic support in legal terms. It's nonverbal, but it sends a message to the jury, the judge, everyone watching. I'm here. I'm with him.
Wow.
And when public opinion is almost as important as the legal side of things, like in this case, that image is everything.
Yeah, okay, so we've got this backdrop of, you know, media frenzy and everyone watching their every move.
Uh-huh.
And then we get into the actual testimony, especially from AP Rocky, the guy who's claiming he was assaulted.
Right.
There's this line from the court transcript that really got me. It looked like a movie.
Huh. That's a powerful thing to say,
Yeah.
especially coming from the alleged victim.
Exactly.
But we have to remember this is all part of the prosecution's case, you know? They're trying to build a case around 2 counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm.
Oh, wow.
Those are charges that could put Rocky away for 24 years.
24 years, that's serious.
Yeah.
The excerpts also mention Rihanna's reaction during Relly's testimony.
Oh, really?
They say she showed slight irritation.
Hmm.
Now, was that because of what Relly was saying, or was it something else entirely?
It's hard to say for sure just from these excerpts, but it shows you how much every little detail, every facial expression is being analyzed in this case.
Oh, for sure.
It's like the whole world is trying to read between the lines.
Yeah, okay, so Rocky's facing these serious charges. Rihanna's there, making her presence known, and the alleged victim is painting a pretty vivid picture.
Yeah.
What else is jumping out at us from all this?
Well, to really grasp how serious those charges are, we need to break down what assault with a semi-automatic firearm actually means. It's
Right.
not just about actually firing the weapon, you know?
Really?
It also includes any action that could make someone reasonably fear they're about to be shot.
So even just showing the weapon could be enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where the prosecution is probably focusing their arguments, you know?
Right.
They're using Relly's testimony and probably any physical evidence to present Rocky as the aggressor, the one who created that atmosphere of fear.
Okay, I see. But what about Rocky's defense? How are they fighting back against all this?
Well, from what we can see, it looks like they're trying to find weaknesses in the prosecution's story, you know? Like
Yeah.
maybe pointing out contradictions in Relly's testimony or questioning his credibility as a witness.
Oh, interesting. So it's like a legal chess match.
Exactly.
Wait.
Each side trying to outsmart the other.
Right.
And we can't forget, this isn't happening in a vacuum.
Yeah.
The whole world is watching. Every move is analyzed, debated, blown up by the media.
Crazy.
And that's what makes Rihanna's presence even more interesting, you know?
Yeah.
It's not just about her being there for her partner.
Right.
Every single thing she does is being examined, dissected.
It's like she's on trial, too, in a way.
Yeah, that's the thing about fame. It blurs the lines.
Yeah.
People are looking for clues in her behavior, her clothes, even how she interacts with fans.
Now, speaking of which, there's this really sweet moment described in one of the sources.
Oh, yeah.
Rihanna's leaving the courthouse, and she stops to talk with a fan about their daughter's name tattoo.
Wow.
It's like this little bit of normal life in the middle of all the craziness.
It really is. It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Here she is dealing with this incredibly stressful trial.
Yeah.
And she still takes the time to connect with someone on a personal level. It says a lot about her ability to stay grounded, to hold on to her humanity, even when everything around her is surreal.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So we've got these two stories happening at the same time. The legal battle in the courtroom and this whole other trial going on in the court of public opinion.
Right.
How do those two things connect, and what do they mean for Rocky and Rihanna?
Well, the legal outcome will obviously have a huge impact on Rocky's life.
Yeah.
But even if he's found not guilty, his reputation, his career could be damaged. Public opinion is powerful, and it doesn't always follow the same rules as the legal system.
That's true. And what about Rihanna?
Well, it seems like she's trying to walk this fine line between supporting her partner and protecting her own image.
Right.
It's a tough situation. Every decision she makes, every look on her face is being interpreted, analyzed, judged.
Wow.
This whole case could have consequences for her brand, her fans, even her future projects.
It's crazy to think how one legal case can affect so many parts of their lives.
Yeah, it really shows how fame adds this whole other level of complexity to any situation, especially a legal battle like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the charges, the legal strategies, the power of public opinion, but these excerpts leave us hanging. The trial's not over.
Nope.
So what happens next? What are the possible outcomes? And what could they mean for everyone involved?
So what happens next? I mean, the most obvious outcome is a guilty verdict, right?
Yeah.
If the jury sides with the prosecution, Rocky could be looking at spending decades in prison. It would be a huge turning point in his life, his career, everything.
And what about Rihanna? How would a guilty verdict affect her?
That's tough to predict, but you can bet the media would go crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Endless speculation about their relationship, her future, her brand.
Right.
It would be a PR nightmare for sure.
Okay. But on the flip side, what if Rocky is acquitted? Does that mean things just go back to normal?
Not necessarily. Even if he's found not guilty, there's still the whole issue of public perception.
Oh, right.
Some people might always believe he's guilty no matter what the court decides.
Yeah.
And that can stick with him, you
Yeah.
know, affect his career, his relationships, his whole life.
It's like this case is cast a shadow even before there's a verdict.
Exactly. That's the thing about high-profile trials. They become about so much more than just the legal charges.
Right.
They tap into bigger conversations about celebrity justice, race perception.
It's kind of fascinating and a little bit scary to see all these things clashing in this one case.
It is, and it brings up important questions for all of us.
Like what?
How do we form our opinions about these complicated situations? You know, how much weight do we give to what the media says versus the actual facts presented in court?
It's a good reminder to think critically, question what we see and hear. Remember that there are always multiple sides to every story.
Absolutely. And as we wait for the next chapter in this whole saga, it's worth thinking about how this case might change the way we view celebrity justice and the influence of public opinion.
It really makes you think it. All right, so to wrap up today, we've taken a deep dive into the AAP Rocky trial. We've looked at the legal side, the media frenzy, the human stories at the heart of it all.
And as this story continues to unfold, remember to look beyond the headlines, consider all the different angles, and keep asking those tough questions.
Yeah, it really makes you think, I mean, what are the possible outcomes here? What could happen?
Right, like what are the different ways this could all play out?
Well, one possibility is that the jury doesn't buy the whole self-defense argument.
Yeah.
If they believe the prosecution's case, Rocky could be convicted, you know.
And then we're talking about serious consequences, potentially even jail time.
Jail time, wow. That's heavy.
It would be a complete game changer for him, obviously, his life, his career, everything.
And for Rihanna,
Yeah.
how would that affect her?
Hard to say for sure, but I can guarantee the media would have a field day with it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, all the speculation about their relationship, what she'll do next, the impact on her brand.
Right.
It would be a PR nightmare, no way around it.
Okay, so that's one scenario. But what if things go the other way? What if Rocky is acquitted? Does that mean everything goes back to normal?
It's not that simple, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Even with a not guilty verdict, there's still the court of public opinion to contend with.
Right, yeah.
Some people might always believe he did it regardless of what the legal system says.
That's true.
And that can have a lasting impact, you know, affect his career, his relationships, his well-being.
It's like this whole thing has left a mark even before a verdict is reached.
Exactly. And that's what's so fascinating about these high-profile trials. They become about so much more than the actual charges.
It's like everyone gets invested.
Right. They tap into these bigger conversations about fame and justice and how we perceive things.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing and a little bit unsettling to see how everything's intertwined in this case.
Absolutely. And it raises some really important questions for all of us.
Like what kind of questions?
Well, like, how do we form opinions about these complex situations? You know, how much do we rely on what the media tells us versus the actual evidence presented in court?
That's a good point. It's like a reminder to think critically about things.
Exactly. Question what you see and hear, and remember that there are always multiple perspectives.
Multiple sides to every story.
Absolutely. And I think as this whole story continues to unfold, it's a good opportunity to reflect on how it might change the way we view celebrity and justice and the power of public opinion.
Yeah, it really makes you think. Well, that's about all the time we have for today, but this has been a really fascinating deep dive into the A.T. Rocky trial.
Definitely. It's a case with a lot of layers, and we've just scratched the surface.
We've looked at the legal side, the media frenzy, the personal stories behind it all.
And as this case keeps moving forward, remember to look beyond the headlines, think about all the different angles, and keep asking those tough questions.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.